Praat Nederlands. Praat Nederlands.
Pak je kans, praat Nederlands. Praat Nederlands, pak je kans.
Doe mee. Praat mee. Doe mee. Praat mee. Doe mee. Praat mee. Pak je kans. Praat ook Nederlands.
Praat ook Nederlands. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again to Radio Ganata Broadcasting 104.6 and 99.4 on the ether. That is the Let's Speak Dutch program sponsored by Stichting Edison and also sponsored by Gemeente Amsterdam, the Department Dienst, Werk en Inkomen. That is the Let's Speak Dutch program. Goedemiddag, dames en heren. Welkom naar de uitzending Radio Ganata. Het is 104.6 en 99.4 op de ether. Dit is natuurlijk onze award-winning programma. Let's Speak Dutch, gesponsord door Gemeente Amsterdam, Stichting en Stichting Edison. Dit is onze award-winning programma. Let's Speak Dutch. Het is voor je mamoenjena, je tjetja moenjena. Let's Speak Dutch, Jumedi and Ganata Radio. Yasade Ebremu. And then the last day before we go to the holidays, before we enter into the holidays. Today is our last broadcasting. And from today, we will have a break till the new year. It will come again. So today we will go through our last topic or our last subject that we've been treating. That is the naturalisatie, the naturalization. We will go through from the conversation 1 to the conversation 3, and we will try to do some revision. We will do some learning of words, and also we will do some exercises from the previous lessons. Today is a revision because today is our last day, so that when we come back next year or in the new year, we will start with a new subject. We'll start with a new topic, which is een hypotheek aansluiten or hypotheek aanvragen. That will be our new topic or our new subject that we'll begin with. So today, since today is our last day, we will do some revision of our previous lessons on the subject naturalization. All right. Okay. So we will start reading. I will start reading the conversations, and from there we will try to learn some words and also do some exercises. All right. I will read the conversation, the whole conversation from lesson 1, 2, and 3. That is the whole conversation put together. So I'll read them, and from there we will know how to learn some words that we will come across the conversation. Oké, dames en heren, vandaag gaan we een beetje herhalen, van alles herhalen vanaf les 1 tot 3. We gaan eerst gaan we het gesprek voorlezen. Daarna gaan we proberen die oefeningen te maken. En daarna gaan we ook woordjes leren. Dus vandaag, omdat vandaag de laatste dag is voor de vakantie, gaan we die herhaling, gaan we het vandaag programma zo aanpakken. Na de vakantie gaan we beginnen met een nieuw onderwerp. En dat is een hypotheek aanvragen. Dus die wordt na de vakantie behandeld. Maar vandaag gaan we herhalen, naturalisatie gaan we herhalen. Dus ik zal eerst beginnen met het voorlezen van het gesprek. Dit is het gesprek deel 1, 2 en 3. Ga ik ze allemaal voorlezen. Daarna gaan we de woordjes leren. En gaan we een paar oefeningen maken. Oké, luister goed. Want ik ga die gesprek voorlezen. Ik ga het 1 keer voorlezen. En daarna moeten we samen met onze luisteraars alle oefeningen en alle woordjes kunnen maken. Oké. En het begint zo. Het is een gesprek tussen Sido en Anna. Het zijn 2 personen die over naturalisatie gingen hebben. Sido zegt: informatie over naturalisatie. Laten we via Google zoeken. Typo Amsterdam in en naturalisatie. Doe jij maar. Anna zegt: oké, hup, meteen goed. Naturalisatie, Amsterdam homepage. Dat is wat we zoeken. Sido zegt: ja, laten we even kijken. Hier, er zijn 2 manieren om de Nederlandse nationaliteit te krijgen. Via naturalisatie en via die optieprocedure. Nooit van gehoord. Anna zegt: volgens mij is dat voor als je in Nederland geboren bent. Die optieprocedure. Dat geldt voor ons niet. Wij moeten een aanvraag voor naturalisatie indienen. Sido zegt: oké, nou, op de website hebben ze het over de voorwaarden, de kosten en hoe je naturalisatie moet aanvragen. Laten we daarover vertellen in de groep. Anna zegt: weet je wat? We printen de pagina van de website gewoon uit. En dan vertellen wij wat er staat. Dan leggen we de moeilijke woorden uit, bijvoorbeeld. Sido zegt: goed idee van je. We beginnen met de voorwaarden. Je moet boven de 18 zijn. Je mag de afgelopen 4 jaar geen straf of boete hebben gehad. En je moet minimaal het inburgeringsexamens hebben gehad. Anna zegt: ja. En op A2. Sido zegt: ja. Dat weet iedereen wel, denk ik. En pas dan, als je aan al die voorwaarden voldoet, kun je in aanmerking komen voor naturalisatie. Anna zegt: ik stel voor dat ik daarover vertel. Over de voorwaarden, daar ga ik nog preciezer lezen en precies vertellen hoe het zit. Dan kan jij daarna iets vertellen over het aanvragen van naturalisatie. Sido zegt: oké, even kijken. Hoe vraag je naturalisatie aan? Van naturalisatie moet je zelf naar de gemeente toe en allerlei documenten tonen. Een geldig paspoort, een geldige verblijfsvergunning en een geboorteakte. Anna zegt: en als je getrouwd of gescheiden bent, moet je daar ook een bewijs van meenemen. En dat geef je dus allemaal af bij de gemeente. Sido zegt: juist. Dat is dus wat je moet doen om naturalisatie aan te vragen. Sido zegt: nou, en als je al je papieren hebt ingeleverd, dan neemt de gemeente het verzoek in behandeling en stelt een advies op aan de IND. Dus ze kijken weer naar al je papieren en vertellen dan de IND of zij vinden dat je wel of niet een Nederlandse paspoort kunt krijgen. Anna zegt: dat snap ik eigenlijk niet. Waarom moeten ze nou weer een advies geven? Als je aan al de voorwaarden voldoet, kun je een aanvraag indienen. Dan hoeven ze toch niet opnieuw een advies te geven. Hoe zit dat? Ze zeggen: weet ik veel. Dat heet bureaucratie. Die mensen moeten ergens hun geld mee verdienen. Anna zegt: nou. En dan neemt de IND een beslissing. Oh nee, moet je kijken. De koningin neemt een beslissing. Dus die krijgt ook nog al onze papieren. Sido zegt: wel ja. Dat zei ik toch. Al die mensen moeten toch ook hun geld verdienen. Anna zegt: haha. Dat zou ze wel niet allemaal zelf doen. Ik kan me niet voorstellen dat de koningin al onze papieren gaat bekijken. Sido zegt: nee. Dat lijkt me ook niet. Maar als je aanvraag wordt goedgekeurd, dan moet je je nieuwe paspoort wel persoonlijk afhalen bij de koningin. Op het paleis. Anna zegt: nee, echt? Dat wist ik helemaal niet. Dat zullen mijn kinderen fantastisch vinden. Sido zegt: grapje. Anna zegt: oh jammer. Dus dames en heren, dat was hele conversatie, hele gesprek van Anna en Sido. Ik heb net het hele gesprek van 1, 2, 3 heb ik allemaal gelezen. Ladies and gentlemen, I just read the conversation between Sido and Anna. about naturalization. That is the conversation from lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3. I've combined it and I read all of them. They were talking about naturalization and the process that you have to go through to be naturalized here in the Netherlands. They said there are two ways to be naturalized. The optie procedure is, so the option process is when you were born here and you want to be naturalized. When you were born here but you don't have any Dutch documents and you want to be naturalized, that is one is for you. And if you are coming from outside the country, for that one too, they have a different process for you. For that one, you have to ask for it. You have to ask for it. And for both process, you need to go through the gemeente, and the gemeente will forward your documents. They will look through your documents, and they will give an advice. They will give their take on it, and they will forward it to the IND. There is an institution that treat or that take care of the process, whether someone deserves the Dutch document or the Dutch passport, or someone qualifies to get the Dutch passport or document. So from the gemeente, it goes to the IND, and the IND will take the further procedure, the further process. They will take the treatment. So basically, that is the whole story about the conversation. And also, you have to make sure they say something that you have to make sure that if someone want to ask for or request for a Dutch passport, you should make sure that you don't have any police case, you don't have any fines that you have to pay. At least for the past 4 years, you shouldn't have your how do you call it, your status must be clear. You shouldn't have any problem with the police. You shouldn't have any case with the police, any fine that you have to pay for the past four years. You need to be clear. So that is also one of the requirements. And also there's something that they call inburgeringsexamen. It is an exam, it's a test that people who request for the Dutch passport needs to do. They have to go through this process. They have to do the test, and they have to show themselves that they are capable of learning the Dutch language, or they are capable of speaking the Dutch language. So they will give you a couple of period for you to learn the language and get a certificate. And with that certificate, if it is for those who are not going to school, who are not students, for the older people who are not going to school, you need to have this inburgeringsexamen. You have to take the exams and make sure that you get a certificate of it. With a certificate, you can apply or request for naturalization. So that is one of the requirements that you need to have. And also you need to have a valid how do you call it, verblijfsvergunning, a valid ID, birth certificate, a valid passport. They need all these documents to process your Dutch passport for you. So these are also the requirements that you need to have if you want to apply for a Dutch passport. And also, if you are married or if you've divorced, all these proofs you need to provide for them so that they can know how to process your documents. It's also one of the requirements. If you are married or you are divorced, you need to prove and show them. You have to take all these documents with you when you want to request for a Dutch passport. Okay. And as I said earlier, the gemeente will gather all your documents and forward it to the IND. They will gather all your documents together with an advice. If they found anything about it, they make a report and forward the report and your documents to the IND, and the IND will take care of it. Okay, so basically that was the summary about the conversation that I just read. We will go on and learn some words which we came across in the conversation. It's some words which we will come across in our daily life when we are busy with applying or requesting for naturalization. Some of the words have so many words here that we can learn. It is words from lesson 1, lesson 2, and lesson 3. But I will pick the normal ones that we know. I will leave it behind, and I'll pick the ones that most of us find it very difficult, so that when we recognize it, when we see it somewhere, we will not be in panic, but we will know that is what it means. Okay, one of the words that I have here is een aanvraag indienen. Een aanvraag indienen. When we say een aanvraag indienen, is als je een aanvraag indient, dan doe je een aanvraag. Een aanvraag dien je vaak in door een formulier in te vullen en dat formulier op te sturen of af te geven. Bijvoorbeeld als je een aanvraag indient, dan moet je een kopie van je paspoort meesturen. Dus een aanvraag indienen simply means to request for something or to apply for something, to ask for something. Een aanvraag indienen, to request for something. Most of the times when you want to request for something, you just need to fill in some forms and you send the forms. And most of the times you have to make a copy of your passport and send it along with the forms that you are sending. So een aanvraag indienen, you come across it very often because when you are busy applying for something, it doesn't matter what you are applying for, whether it's a Dutch passport, whether it's a subsidy, whether it's a toeslag, whatever thing that you are applying, you will hear that word aanvraag and indienen, to request for something. Okay, and boven de 18 zijn, I think for that one we know, boven de 18 zijn, above 18 years. For that one we will quickly brush it off and move on. The next one is afgelopen 4 jaar. De afgelopen 4 jaar. I think most of us recognize some of the words in it. De afgelopen 4 jaar. 4 jaar is 4 years. De afgelopen is the past 4 years. The past 4 years. Okay. In aanmerking komen voor. In aanmerking komen voor something, for iets. When we say in aanmerking komen, to be, it means to like you qualify, to qualify for something. In aanmerking komen voor iets, you qualify for something. So if you want to request for a Dutch passport, there are some certain requirements that you need to have. If you have these requirements that the gemeente or the IND is asking from you, then you qualify to ask for a Dutch passport. And also, when you are above 18 years and you want to request for a Dutch passport, that means you qualify because you should be above 18 years for you to be able to request for a Dutch passport. So you qualify in aanmerking komen, you qualify, you are allowed to request. Okay. And also we have this word which means gescheiden. Gescheiden. Gescheiden means to get divorced, to separate. To separate. Scheiden. To separate. If you are separate and you want to request for a Dutch passport, you also have to prove it with the documents that you are separated. You have to prove it because the gemeente wants to know all these things. All right. Also, we have some words here. These words were from the last 2 conversation, and because we just read everything, I just read everything just straight ahead. The conversation of lesson 1, lesson 2, and lesson 3. So these words that are coming is from lesson 2, the conversation of lesson 2, and we'll give the words in Dutch and also we'll try to explain them in English. These are words that you come across very often because it's very important to know these words, especially when you are busy or you want to apply for something. You come across these words very often. The next word is het verzoek. Het verzoek. Het verzoek is dus als je een verzoek om naturalisatie doet, dan vraag je of je genaturaliseerd kan worden. Als je een verzoek om hulp doet, dan vraag je om hulp. Dus een verzoek means to request for something. To request. Een verzoek, you request. Requesting. So if you request or if you ask someone for help, that means you want that person to help you. If you request to be naturalized, that means you want the Dutch passport. You want to be naturalized. Okay. The next one is in behandeling nemen. In behandeling nemen. Als de gemeente jouw verzoek in behandeling neemt, dan gaat de gemeente aan het werk met jouw verzoek. Bijvoorbeeld, aanvragen voor een paspoort worden zo snel mogelijk in behandeling genomen. In behandeling nemen simply means to work on it. To work on it. So if you request for naturalization, if you request for a Dutch passport and you present all your documents, the gemeente is going to tell you that they will work on it. They've received your documents, you've presented everything, and so they are going to work on it. So that is in behandeling nemen. In behandeling nemen. So that is what the word means. Een advies opstellen. Een advies opstellen. You see, when you present your documents, everything that is required of you, when you present it to the gemeente, they will look at it and also they will try to write an advice or a kind of report about your document before they send it to the IND for them to take the further action or the further procedure. They write a report. They try to write a report and they send it to the IND. They send it to the IND. Dus een advies, als je een advies opstelt, dan denk je na over het advies dat je wil geven. En dat advies schrijf je op. Dus dat is een advies opstellen. Dat doet de gemeente. En ze geven door, die advies geven ze door aan de IND. Dus de IND leest het advies op en neemt de beslissing. So after they've the IND got the report of the gemeente, they will base their decision on the advies that the gemeente gave to them. Alright. The next word is aan de voorwaarden voldoen. Aan de voorwaarden voldoen. So you have to meet certain requirements. Aan de voorwaarden voldoen. So if you want to apply for a Dutch passport, dan moet je aan de voorwaarden voldoen. Dus als je aan de voorwaarden voldoet, dan heb je eigenlijk gewoon alles wat nodig is om iets te kunnen krijgen of iets te mogen doen. So you have to meet the requirements. You have to meet the requirements of the gemeente. For example, if you want to apply for the Dutch passport, you need to be above 18 years, or you need to have a valid passport. You need to have a valid ID, a valid birth certificate, because you need to present all these documents to gemeente. These are the requirements that they want from you. So you have to meet the requirements and the voorwaarden voldoen. All right. I think this word is clear. Persoonlijk. Persoonlijk means personal. Persoonlijk means personal. Okay. Afhalen. Afhalen, to go get it, or to go collect. Afhalen. Afhalen. All right. Before we go to the words of the lesson 3, we have some exercise here, which also were taken from the conversations. Some exercises that we can do. There are questions that we picked from the conversations 1 and 2. So quickly, I will read the questions, and most of the times our listeners know how to answer these questions, because I know they're listening to the conversation that we read, and they know what we are talking about. They know more about the subject now, so they can answer the questions also for themselves. The first question is: waar zoeken Sido en Anna naar informatie over naturalisatie? Waar zoeken Sido en Anna naar informatie over naturalisatie? Is het 1 bij de gemeente of 2 op internet? Waar zoeken ze? So where are Sido and Anna searching for information about naturalization? They were searching for information about naturalization, and the question is, where were they doing that? The first option is it bij de gemeente, bij de gemeente, or on the internet? On the internet. As we can see, as we listen to the conversation, we could see that Sido and Anna were looking on the internet. They Googled it, and they found the gemeente homepage, and over there they could find every information about naturalization. So they went on the internet and found out information about naturalization. The second question is: hoeveel manieren zijn er om de Nederlandse nationaliteit te krijgen? Hoeveel manieren zijn er om de Nederlandse nationaliteit te krijgen? So how many ways are there for you to get the Netherlands nationality? So how many ways? How many ways do we have for you to get the Dutch passport or the Netherlands nationality? The first option is 1. Je moet in Nederland geboren zijn. En de tweede optie is 2. De optie procedure of naturalisatie aanvraag. So how many ways do we have? Is it only one way, that you have to be born in the Netherlands only before you can get the Dutch passport? Or are there 2 options, 2 ways? Is the option procedure or the naturalization request, to request for naturalization? So I think the right answer is 2 options. 2 options. The optie procedure, that is when the option process, that is when you were born here, but you don't have the Dutch passport. You can apply for it. You follow the option process. And the second one is naturalisatie aanvraag. That is to request for naturalization. For that one is for the buitenlanders. That one is for people that do not come from this country. People coming from outside the country. So those people needs to apply or request for the Dutch passport. Yes. And the third question is: wat zijn de voorwaarden om een naturalisatieaanvraag in te dienen? So what are the requirements that you need to meet for you to be able to request for a Dutch passport or the Dutch nationality? What are the requirements? De voorwaarden. Voorwaarden om een naturalisatieaanvraag in te dienen. So what are the requirements that you have to meet for you to be able to request for the Dutch passport? The first answer is: je moet ouder dan 18 jaar zijn, geen boetes of straf hebben gekregen en je inburgeringsexamen hebben afgerond of gehaald. Dus the first option or the first answer was: je moet ouder dan 18 jaar zijn, geen boetes of straf hebben gekregen en je inburgeringsexamen hebben gehaald. So the first option is you have to be above the 18 years. You shouldn't have any fines or police cases. And you have to have your test. You have to get that certificate that they were talking about. So that is the first option. And the second option is: je moet naar de gemeente toe om geldige documenten te tonen. You just need to go to the gemeente and show them a valid document. Show them valid documents. So what do you think the right answer is? Is it number 1 or number 2? Number 2 says you just have to go to the gemeente and just show them the right documents. You don't have to do anything else again. Do you think that is right? If you want to apply for a Dutch passport, the requirements: do you have to go to the gemeente and just present to them the right documents? No, I don't think so. You have to be above 18 years, and also you shouldn't have for the past 4 years. You shouldn't have any fines, any police cases, anything that is illegal, and you should also pass your exams. The inburgeringsexam, you have to pass it. It's a test that you need to. They will give you a period of time for you to learn, follow some courses, and finally you have to make the exam or take the exams and have a certificate. With a certificate is one of the requirements. The certificate is very needed. If you are not a student here, if you are not going to school, you need to have that certificate to present to them so that you can apply for your Dutch passport. It's one of the requirements. Very, very important. Okay. Also, we have an exercise here of the gesprek deel 2, the second conversation. We also have some 3 questions here. You see, these questions helps us and give us more insight about the topic that we are treating. With these questions that we answer, we know more about the topic itself. We listen to the conversation, but maybe you didn't listen carefully to the conversation. But with these exercises that we do, that's why it is very important for you to pay attention when we are doing these exercises. With these exercises, we get more information about the topic, which is naturalization. We get more insight, more understanding, and we get to know more about the topic that we are treating. So it is very important, if you are listening to me, het is beter en het is goed dat je goed luistert en met ons meedoet. Doe mee met de oefeningen die wij nu doen. Zul je zeker helpen. For the second part of the conversation, we have these questions. And these questions, they are based on the second part of the conversation. The first question is: wat gebeurt er als je al je papieren voor de naturalisatieaanvraag hebt ingeleverd? Wat gebeurt er? So what happens after you've presented all your documents, all your papers to request for the naturalization, what happens next? That is a question. So maybe you're asking yourself, you are wondering and asking yourself, what is going to happen next? Now that I have presented all my documents, the requirements, everything, every papers that they ask from me, I've presented everything. So what is going to happen? Now the options, the answers are, the first one is, de IND gaat kijken naar je verzoek. The IND gaat kijken naar je verzoek. So after you presented your papers, everything, the first option says the IND will look at your request or your application. The IND will look at it. And the second option is de gemeente stelt een advies op. The second option is de gemeente stelt een advies op. So the second option is the gemeente will make a report of it. So you present your papers, your documents, everything, and the gemeente will make a report of it. So what is the right answer? You think after you've presented your documents, your papers, the IND will go straight away and look at your papers, or the gemeente first has to make a report of your documents? What do you think? What do you think the right answer is? The first answer, or the first option, is wrong. After you've presented your documents, everything that the gemeente was asking from you or requested from you, after you've presented it, the gemeente will look through it, they will go through it, take a look at it, and make a report of it before they send to the IND, that institution that takes care of it. After you've presented your documents to the gemeente, the IND will, the gemeente will look at it and make a report before they send to the IND. Okay, so I think that one is clear. That's why most of the times it takes more than, they give you more than 8 weeks. After presenting everything, they will tell you, after paying your money, doing everything, they tell you have to wait. You hear from us within 8 weeks. So it takes a little bit long. The second question is, wie neemt de beslissing over een naturalisatieprocedure? Wie neemt de beslissing over naturalisatieprocedure? Who takes the decision of the naturalization request? So after you've requested, who take the decision that we have to give him the Dutch passport? We have to give him the Dutch passport. Who makes that decision, or who takes that decision? The first option is the IND. And the second option is the koningin, which is the queen. So which of these people do you think make or take the decision after you've presented everything, after the gemeente has forwarded your documents and your report to? Which of these people? Is it the IND of the queen or the queen? I think, to my knowledge, I think it's the IND, because after the gemeente has collected or has received your documents and look at it and make a report, they send it to the IND. The IND will have to look at it and take or make their decision whether you'll be naturalized or not. So it is the work of the IND. The last question is: Anna wil graag haar paspoort bij de koningin ophalen. This question, as I said earlier, is based on the conversation 2. Anna wil graag haar paspoort bij de koningin halen. The first option is ja, haar kinderen zullen het geweldig vinden. The second option is nee, ze wil dat helemaal niet. If we read the conversation and we saw that Anna wanted to get her passport from the queen because her children would love it. So the first answer is right. Before we move on to the next session and learn some more words and also do some exercises, let's take a break and listen to this one.
Dit is les 1.
Speak Dutch. Speak Dutch.
Praat Nederlands.
Speak Dutch. Speak Dutch.
Praat Nederlands. Praat Nederlands.
Pak je kans, praat Nederlands. Praat Nederlands, pak je kans.
Doe mee. Praat mee. Doe mee. Praat mee. Doe mee. Praat mee. Pak je kans. Praat ook Nederlands.
Praat ook Nederlands. Dames en heren, we zijn nog steeds bezig met les 5, naturalisatie. Als ik eerder had aangegeven, vandaag zijn we bezig met een herhaling van de afgelopen 3 weken. Dat we bezig waren met naturalisatie. Omdat vandaag onze laatste dag is voor de vakantie. Na de vakantie gaan we beginnen met een nieuw hoofdstuk. Beginnen met een nieuwe les. Een nieuw onderwerp. Dat is een hypotheek aanvragen. Dus vandaag zouden we eigenlijk beginnen met een hypotheek aanvragen. Maar we dachten van, laten we even een herhaling doen. Van de afgelopen 3 weken. Dat we bezig waren met, dat we bezig zijn met naturalisatie. Dus we zijn nu bezig met een herhaling. Natuurlijk is dit the Let's Speak Dutch program. We are still busy with a repetition of what we did, of what we have been doing the past 3 weeks. It is a subject which is very important and which we need to know. The subject is naturalization, how to get the Dutch passport. From the last 3 weeks, we've been learning a lot, learning words and also doing some exercises which helps us, which is enlightening us to know more about applying for the Dutch passport, the processes, the institutions that work on it, the requirements that you need to know or you need to have, you need to present, how to present your document, how to fill in forms. We've been learning all these things and it's helping our listeners a lot. It is helping us a lot. So basically that's what we are doing. From next week, as I said, we will be beginning with a new chapter, with a new topic, een hypotheek aanvragen. Very interesting topic. And I mean from after the vacation, after the holidays, which is New Year, we will come again and begin with the Let's Speak Dutch program. My name is Daniel Champon, for those who just tuned in, and we are busy with the Let's Speak Dutch program. Okay, let's continue. As I said earlier, we read the 3 conversations of Les 1, Les 2, and Les 3, and we started doing the exercises. We've completed the exercise. We did a repetition of the exercises of Les 1 and Les 2, and we also learned words, very important words about Les 1 and Les 2. Right now we've come to lesson 3, which was the last week. It was last week. Last week we found out that we have some extra information about naturalization, and I would like to read it once again, and from there I will give an explanation of it. Okay, here we go. Naturaliseren betekent dat u in Nederlander wordt. Naturalisatie kan aangevraagd worden bij uw gemeente. De gemeente neemt dan de aanvraag in behandeling. Ook de IND kijkt naar uw aanvraag. Als de aanvraag wordt goedgekeurd, krijgt u een uitnodiging voor de naturalisatieceremonie. Daar moet u heen, want daar krijgt u het papier waarop staat dat u Nederlander bent. Met dat bewijs kunt u bij uw gemeente een Nederlandse paspoort aanvragen. De voorwaarden om te kunnen naturaliseren veranderen soms. En voor sommige mensen gelden andere voorwaarden dan voor andere mensen. Bijvoorbeeld voor mensen die getrouwd zijn met iemand met een Nederlandse paspoort. Op de websites van de gemeenten kunt u de juiste informatie vinden. Ook op de website van de IND www.ind.nl staat informatie. Om een naturalisatieaanvraag in te dienen, moet u allerlei papieren en documenten meenemen, invullen en ondertekenen. Op de website van uw eigen gemeente kunt u precies vinden wat u mee moet nemen. So that is the extra information about naturalization. And what it says is, naturalization means to become a Dutch. To naturalize means to become Dutch. You can apply for the Dutch passport or to become a Dutch by the gemeente, the community where you are living, the gemeente. And the gemeente will work on your request or your application. Also, the IND is an institution who also look at your request after the gemeente have sent them the necessary reports and documents. If your request has been approved, if they approved on it, you get a letter invitation to partake in the naturalization ceremony. So after they have approved your documents, your report, everything, your request, you get an invitation letter that you have to attend the naturalization ceremony. And you have to go there, and over there they will give you a paper which will prove that you are a Dutch now. So the paper that you get is a proof that you've become Dutch now. So with the paper, which is the proof, you can go to your gemeente and apply for the Dutch passport. So because you have the paper, you can go to your gemeente and apply for the Dutch passport over there. Also, we have some requirements that people needs to meet or needs to have if they want to have the Dutch passport. But these requirements most of the times changes. It changes every year. So it's very important that you know the requirements that you need to meet before you can apply for the Dutch passport. Because for some people it's different from some people. It is different. So you need to apply, know the requirements before you apply. On the website of most of the gemeentes, you'll find the right information. You find the right information, and also on the website for IND, which is www.ind.nl. You'll find the right information so that you know how to apply for naturalization. before you can apply for the naturalization, you need to have some documents, valid documents. You need to take them along with you, or you need to fill forms. You need to fill in some forms and sign them and send it to the gemeente. Every information that you want to apply for the Dutch passport is on the website. So it is very important for you to just take a look at the website. And find more information about it so that you don't make any unnecessary mistakes. If you don't know, you can also ask people who has done it before. So that you don't make any unnecessary mistakes. Or desnoods kun je bellen met de gemeente en dan kun je informatie vragen. Vraag informatie. Het is heel belangrijk om informatie te vragen. Try to call the gemeente and ask for more information how you should apply for it, because there are so many forms. You can go to the website, all right, but if you don't know how to get the right forms, you can fill in the wrong forms. So before, just call the gemeente, call the people working at the gemeente and ask them for them to send you. They can even send you the right forms for you to fill in, and they can also direct you to do that. Okay, so we've come to the end of our program. This is the naturalization lesson. We've learned a lot. From the past 3 weeks, we've been busy learning about naturalization. So that is what we need to know. We have learned so many words, and from next week, as I said, we will continue with een hypotheek aanvragen, which is also a very interesting. From next year, which is also a very important and very interesting topic. Very interesting topic. Okay, so we will end here, and since today is our last day voor de vakantie, wil ik namens Ganata Radio onze luisteraars bedanken. Ik wil jullie allemaal bedanken voor jullie tijd en medewerking en aandacht. Verder wil ik jullie namens Ganata Radio allemaal een fijne feestdagen toewensen. I want to wish our listeners, on behalf of Ganata Radio, I want to wish our listeners a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year in advance. I pray that our listeners enjoy their Christmas days. We thank you for having given us your attention and also listening to Ganata Radio, and also following the Let's Speak Dutch program. I would like to admonish our listeners to keep on listening, because there is something sponsored by the gemeente and also Stichting Educent. It will help you to improve your Dutch skills, your Dutch language. Keep on listening to Ganata Radio, and you will see that you improve your Dutch. I will sign out for now. Once again, I wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year in advance. Bye bye for now. Thank you for listening. My name is Daniel Echampon. See you next year.
Speak Dutch. Speak Dutch.
Praat Nederlands.
Speak Dutch. Speak Dutch.
Praat Nederlands. Praat Nederlands.
Pak je kans, praat Nederlands. Praat Nederlands, pak je kans.
Doe mee. Praat mee. Doe mee. Praat mee. Doe mee. Praat mee.
mee, pak je kans.
Praat ook Nederlands.